Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spock with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've covered most of this week's Marvel books. Just got one family left to go for, as well as this week's DC books. So we'll kick things off with Black Knight number 4. That's right. What's left was the Avengers titles. So, where we left off, Black Knight had drank from the Ebony Chalice. Well, turns out the Ebony Chalice, it gives you knowledge of the truths you need. Then it forces you to see the ones you didn't want to know. But Black Knight, Elsa Bloodstone, and Jax catch up with Mordred, who has the Ebony Shield and the Ebony Dagger, as well as Red Cap. Mordred kills Red Cap and basically chucks this and gives the Bloodstone to Elsa. You know, like, hey, here. Who leaves, really. But it turns out that what Dane's being shown by the Chalice is all the horrible reality, all the horrible truths about Camelot and his ancestors. But after the fall of Camelot, Merlin kind of whitewashed things through manipulating memories and whatnot. Making it more in line with, well, the legends we know. About getting rid of things such as familiars, pagan gods, women, colorful faces, and even the memories of a tortured ghost. But Mordred causes Jax to have a bit of a breakdown, and so Dane drops all the ebony weapons he's got, and Mordred stabs him with the dagger. He then takes everything but the sword and reforges them into a crown, the Ebony Crown. He means to bring Camelot back from Otherworld and put it back on British soil and declare himself king. And as wounds from the Ebony Dagger tend to be mortal, well, things are not looking good for Dane. Especially seeing as how he dropped the sword before he was stabbed. That is where the issue ends. So far, so good. Definitely an interesting cliffhanger for the next to last issue. Black Knight is a character that I wouldn't go as far as to say I've always loved him or even really liked him. I guess liked him at least. When I first got into comics, he ran around. He was running around with an energy sword and wearing a bomber jacket, as well with over his armor. But I've at least come to appreciate him, and with the retcons to the Ebony Blade, he's definitely a much more interesting character than now than he was 30 years ago. But honestly, this has been a really good series. I kind of like this. I hope that between this miniseries and his role in Eternals, that we're going to be seeing a much better, higher profile for Black Knight in coming years in Marvel Comics. Anyways, moving on to our next book, we've got Black Widow, number 8. Yeah, I got all. Yeah. So where we left off, Natasha and Yelena had were working on catching up to Apogee. They managed to capture one of his people, who had been given powers, and the guy they captured dissolved in front of them and their ally Lucy, who had also been given powers by Apogee. So the widows were waiting to meet with Anya, Anya Corazon, if I remember correctly, formerly known as Aranya, who is their kind of sort of their spy. Though Natasha's remembering some of her flashing back to some of her memories with Stevie, her son. And until Yelena pulls her out of it. But Anya shows up. Intel is passed along both ways. Yelena goes to check on something while on a lead, while Natasha goes back to the web to do go through and to go over the intelligence they've got. Back at the web, Lucy is with the remains of the guy that dissolved on them, realizing that could happen to her. And while Natasha tells her, you probably shouldn't be here, Lucy does state that, he was alone. And even asks that if what happens to him happens to her, don't leave her alone. Anya is doing her spy bit, managed to get some of the Apogee serum, and also destroy a good chunk of it, and makes good her escape. While Natasha, with the help of Lucy, managed to figure out exactly which of the potential corporations are the one that she needs to go after. Of course, it's the one that Yelena's gone after. So she goes to rescue Yelena. They have to break out a potential contact, and one of Apogee's people has grabbed Yelena, zaps her with an electro bolt, and then Natasha does the same. Hits the other henchman with Widow's Bite. Though Yelena is very unconscious, and there are others watching from above. And that is where the issue ends. Seriously, Kelly Thompson's run on Black Widow has been great so far. There hasn't been a single... I don't think there's been a single issue that felt off. It's solid work, and I'm looking forward to reading many more issues of this run. So, yeah. Moving on to our next book, and our final Marvel book of the week, we've got The United States of Captain America, number 1. So, the United States of Captain America is designed to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Captain America. It opens with a really solid speech from Steve while he's cleaning the shield. It's an inner monologue about the American dreams and the American lie. Really great stuff. Apparently, though, the Smithsonian's doing an exhibit called American Suit Fight, and they want to have the actual shield there. But there's also, he kind of wonders if he doesn't divide more than unite. Because he can be he's repurposed for various people's agendas. He's an easy target when things in this country get bad, and they can get bad. And he even states sometimes it gets so far away from 1940 when he first got injected with the super soldier serum that it all seems pretty ridiculous. And he kind of wonders maybe he's been hiding behind the shield. As he's contemplating this, however, someone dressed like him breaks into his apartment and steals the shield. So Cap gets a hold of Falcon, and the two of them go after the guy, and he ends up causing a train crash. Luckily, most of the damage is mitigated, and Sam and Steve eventually get people off the two trains. And they meet, they run after someone who appears to, who they can see the silhouette of holding a shield. Only be introduced to... what is... the Captain America of the Railways. Aaron Fisher. While he's talking with Sam and Cap, however, someone takes a shot at him, and though it manages to only hit his arm, it just gets he gets winged by it, apparently taken to a hospital, and eventually ducks out. Hops back on a train. We then get a backup story giving Aaron's origin. He's a gay guy in the U.S., but he also, and he's fighting against Roxxon mainly. It's brought up while Roxxon's building a new stadium. They said they would relocate all of the homeless people where they were relocating. They didn't say where they would relocate them to. Yeah, camps of a sort, and but Aaron goes in, saves a bunch of them, saves a bunch of people, makes himself a shield and a Cap outfit. Saves the day. But there's a little file from the Captain's Network. With notes from both Sam and Steve. And that is where the issue ends. Not bad. It's not great. It's just not. It's not bad, but it's. I don't want to call it. It's not. I wouldn't go as far as to call it aggressively mediocre, but it's. It's okay. Solid, middle of the road. It'll be interesting to see where how the series progresses with the various characters introduced throughout. And to be fair, it was nice to see the artwork of Dale Eaglesham in the A story. I've been a fan of Eaglesham since Villains United back in 2005, I think. Anyway, moving on to this week's DC titles, we've got the Catwoman 2021 Annual, which gives us the origin story of Father Valley, the mysterious assassin who is tracking down Selena Kyle. Turns out that Father Valley was raised in the Order of Saint Dumas, and in fact, largely was trained by the father of none other than Jean-Paul Valley. Also, who was briefly the Order's Azrael, and was also for a while Batman. He's also Father Valley. Turns out is also the of a more masochistic version of Christianity. He does take a lash to himself. We also found out that Leo, the associate of Catwoman he was interrogating in the last issue, was found in time and has, and so far, will survive his run-in with the father. But so yeah, turns out though that his name was but Father Valley's name previously was, I'm not exactly how one, Karl Wasserman. He was an orphan, raised in the Order, mainly raised by Ludovic Valley, but Padre Speranza, the Order, passes along some intelligence to Ludovic that there's a mole within the Order. They don't know. There's not time to truly track down the mole and get rid of it. So basically, the order by and large is to be liquidated, which Azrael does. Well, Ludovic does. Carl seemingly leaps to his death, but survives. And a while later, Azrael catches up with Paolo Manzoni, formerly of the Order, who was in fact the mole. Only Manzoni's already dead at Carl's hand. Ludovic explains that the Order knows that Carl's still alive. So, it has to be extra hard, and it gives him papers, new IDs, and passports. Under the name Carl Valley. And he tells Ludovic if they do cross paths again, he will kill Ludovic. But we also get more about what's happening in Alley with the crackdown on Alleytown. It is definitely turning into rather large protest, and watching from the sidelines is Father Valley as he destroys the church he had stayed in the previous night. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. Very interesting. It's always neat to see what's going to be done with an annual, how annuals will be handled this year. Whether it's something like the Infinite Destinies stories, or just kind of, may as well just be, an important story that we can just put into the annual as opposed to a regular issue, and just kind of have it set between two issues. Finally, for our last book of the week, we've got the Infinite Frontier Secret Files. Basically, this is Dr. Bones going over various files on some of the various characters involved in Infinite Frontier. Calvin Ellis in the Superman of is there President Superman. How apparently he used to have an army of Superman robots, but then the Brainiac AI was corrupted. He fights Kryptonite Man. He tries to stick to a very strict schedule, and he mainly in the hopes of getting some time away so that he can go into what's referred to as a dimensional space that the Black Martians dubbed the margin, where sound and thought don't penetrate. It's used to heal the trauma from telepathic intrusion. But when he has extra time, he does what he can to go inside and just go into one of these. The key that he uses to open it it turns any doorway into a doorway into that. But basically, every day he comes out of there and he's a new and better version of himself. We got Roy Harper. Working on learning about meditation initially from all in the past and the present, fighting with a rather large biker in a biker bar. The bartender tells him eventually, maybe you should, stop or, hit back or something, because sometimes Big Bill doesn't know when to stop. However, as the fight continues, she ends up taking a baseball bat to Bill, and that's the point when Roy steps in and smacks Bill around and takes his bike. He thanks the bartender for caring about him when she had no reason to, and hits the road. Then we've got Jade and Obsidian. Jade's not too confident anymore in the Starfight in the Starheart. Obsidian tries to get her to be, but something. The Starheart is a reminder of something that's come to return to Earth, but she can't remember what it was. Turns out it's the entity known as Chroma. Because of because of the world having been reborn, she wants to see everything she can and sing about it. However, Obsidian has a better idea. Here's something completely new to sing about. The Shadowlands. And so she will traverse the Shadowlands and sing the song of them, up until the point when she's sung the song of everything in the Shadowlands. Then she will try and sing the Earth into its destruction. And that actually does kind of help Jade get back to being able to trust the Starheart a little more. She's much more. It's much more kind of a. She knows that it might at some point fail her, but for now, it isn't. Next up, we've got the Totality. So apparently, two different totalities met up. One from Earth 0, one from Earth 23. President Superman's home Earth. Led to a fight. Afterward, when Superman showed up and he and Vandal Savage got into it. Afterwards, Jean explains to them that one of their totality replaced their counterpart during their skirmish. So apparently, basically, everyone, I committed to memory why each of you joined. So tell me why, and if it matches, it matches. They all do, and yeah. But the two try to work together, and also try to make sure, but also try to make sure that they don't run two totalities. Try to work with one another, while at the same time to make sure that they don't have to do so often. Next up, we've got Captain Boomerang. So back in the Death Metal Secret Files and Origins one shot, Captain Boomerang got mutated in the I don't remember I think it was the I don't remember which sector it was from, but yeah. And then he was, but Harley Quinn found him, and also as well as a little, you know, hyena pup who was, after having been exposed to radiation, grew a massive size and, well, ate the mutated Captain Boomerang alive. Well, turns out that Captain Boomerang, the big mutated version is still in there. But while Bones is dealing with this, there's a tape that's playing is Chase's thoughts on him, going over his own history and the lengths to which he can go. But he takes down Boomerang. And it turns out that Bones has a past with the multiverse, which is apparently news to him. Our final story focuses on Psycho Pirate. Apparently, travelers come to, basically a lonely man, the Psycho Pirate, travels to town, but it seems more like the towns travel to him. Someone always will come and try on the mask, and he asks questions. First question: what can we know? The answer given, which turns out to be a good one, is we are shocked at the limitations of. Okay, the full answer. I like that question. I think about that sort of thing a lot. I think about how light only exists to us because we have eyes. Air is only useful if we have lungs to translate it into breath. Without those tools, we wouldn't know either existed. We are shackled with limitations of our human form. All we can ever know is what our senses are willing to tell us, which is apparently a very good answer. The second one, what is real? Which the response is, only our emotions are real. The rest of a life can be false, designed by someone else. The entire world around us can be delusion and illusion. But if you're bored, you're really bored. If you're enraged, you're really enraged. The source of those emotions can be false, but not the emotions themselves. We are not their masters. We are entirely made of them. Which Psycho Pirate says is a good answer. The final question is, who are you? He says he's only a man. Born and raised in the middle of nowhere, now a fry cook at a diner in the middle of nowhere. But he can be so much more. But that's not the right answer. He postures. And Psycho Pirate explains, you were not born and raised. The universe is mere months old. It has been remade again. And then Psycho Pirate rips the background of the panel he's in out. And once again, someone else wearing a Medusa mask vanishes. He then summoned Earth Omega by Darkseid, who Apparently he wanted to not be alone, so others might join him in despair. And Darkseid does just that for him. And, yeah. That's the point when the tape and the tape player are both destroyed by Mr. Bones. Fun batch of stories. The Roy, I'm biased, so I honestly probably like the Roy Harper one most. I'm a little biased towards Roy after all. Me and train wrecks, especially when those train wrecks have to also be archers. But yeah, these tend to be fairly nice. It's a little different format from the usual Secret Files, but it's kind of along the same vein as the Death Metal ones. So the ones I'm used to would have kind of like little. You'd have your vignette stories, but you'd also have like files on it that talk about that would give a character's vital statistics and so forth. But, yeah, Infinite Frontier, I mean, so far, the first issue was good, and this time was also good, so, yeah. Anyway, that's it for this week's Roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.